The Hawker Hunter FGA.9 is a premium jet fighter in War Thunder's British Air Tree. Let's check it out. As the earlier Hunter models were replaced by the English Electric Lightning in the interceptor role, many of the F-6 airframes were upgraded and repurposed as strike aircraft. In addition to modifying the weapon system, the FGA-9 model featured greater fuel capacity, a drag chute for landing, and modifications to the flight controls to make the handling a little easier at low altitudes. The FGA-9 saw combat in a few different conflicts, and by most accounts it performed pretty well in the ground attack role. The FGA-9 served throughout the 1960s with the RAF, and quite a bit longer with around a dozen export customers. This version of the Hunter saw extensive combat over the years, both as a traditional fighter and in its intended ground attack role. What we get in the game is the Hunter FGA-9, a moderately rare premium vehicle in the British Air Tree, in rank 5 with a battle rating of 9.7. The plane was originally added to the game back in 2019 on the web store as a pack vehicle, but it was removed pretty quickly, and it only had a brief window of availability. It seems, based on forum and Reddit posts, that the plane just didn't sell well on the web store. It came back for a couple of days for an anniversary event, so it's possible that this is one of those planes that we're going to see on sale on and off again over the years. Now for weapons, it gets the same set of Aiden cannons as the earlier Hunters. They punch hard and get the same ammo belts as the other planes. No special caveats on the guns. It also gets the same AN APG-30 radar rangefinder, which, once again, doesn't do a whole lot for you outside of simulator battles. However, the loadouts are what set this Hunter apart from the others. The plane not only gets a pair of sidewinders, but a handful of options for bombs and unguided rocket pods, giving it at least some ground attack capability beyond just using the cannons. The air-to-air missile it gets is the AIM-9E. This is a very basic rear aspect infrared missile with fairly lackluster performance. With a 10G pull limit, you have to be very careful about the shots you take with this one, and it's only marginally useful in hard-turning dogfights. On the upside, they've got longer range than the SRAMs that the Hunter F6 gets, even if they're a bit less capable overall. The flight performance of the Hunter FGA-9 is broadly similar to the other Hunters. It's subsonic, but has good engine performance compared to most other subsonic jets. It retains energy reasonably well through a couple of turns, but its overall maneuverability isn't great compared to the other jets it goes against. Otherwise, no special caveats with its performance compared to the other Hunters in the game. Flying the FGA-9 out in missions, oh boy. So, I mentioned in my review of the Hunter F1 that the plane suffers badly from the matchmaker and is over-tiered. Yeah, it's worse with this one. The plane is at 9.7, which means that in a subsonic jet, you routinely get matched into all-aspect missiles, Mach 2 fighters, and supersonic dogfighters that can not only outturn the FGA-9, but can also catch it pretty easily. Still, no radar warning receiver or countermeasures, and only the radar rangefinder, so in addition to being quite vulnerable to the performance of a lot of the aircraft that this plane goes up against, it's also deaf and blind. The worst part is that its air-to-air missiles, the AIM-9Es, seriously underperform compared to the Magic 1s, R-60s, and AIM-9Ls you're going to be up against. To be very blunt, air battles in the FGA-9 can be very frustrating. In terms of ground attack, which is what the plane was actually built for in real life, remember, it doesn't have any kind of ballistics computer for the bombs or rockets, even though the real-life Hunter FGA-9 did. So, kind of limited potential in close air support, as it's crazy vulnerable to the modern air defenses it goes up against, and has a hard time accurately placing its weapons. Visually, the FGA.9 is a good-looking plane, same as the other Hunters. There are a few really nice paint jobs in-game for this one, and I'm particularly fond of the Swiss aerobatic team skin that it gets. I gotta give this one really good marks for its visuals, and it's pretty fun to look at. Landing the FGA.9 is a bit easier than the Hunter F1, basically because it gets a drag chute. Otherwise, no special caveats beyond the dramatically improved landing distance. The cockpit, once again, is great. Amazing visibility and good visual detail. Like the other Hunters, A+ for the cockpit on this one. To close out on the Hunter FGA.9. This plane has good cannons and can take some external loadouts. It still has a strong engine for a subsonic plane, and it still retains energy well through at least a couple of maneuvers. However, its air-to-air missiles seriously underperform compared to its opposition. Still no radar warning receiver or countermeasures. It's slower and less maneuverable than the majority of planes it flies up against. It has no ballistics computer for its external weapons, and it's positioned even worse in the matchmaker than the Hunter F1. The final verdict on the Hunter FGA.9 is simply that the plane is one of the worst victims of BR compression in the entire game. There's a reason they took this pack down off the web store, and if I'm being honest, this is one of the few planes that I just can't find any real use case for. It's just tiered too high in the battle ratings. As always, thanks for watching.